Good afternoon. I'm Debbie Kaufman at the Arkansas Department of Education, Division of Public School Accountability, and we're so pleased to welcome you to our webinar today. Thank you for joining us. We are very excited to finally get to have this and to make services available to non-public schools. So I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Gomez. She is overseeing our ARP-EANS program, and she'll be giving us the details today and introducing us to additional partners. So Elizabeth?
Yes, good afternoon.
For you about the emergency assistance for non-public schools. We have a school inquiring if we can.
It seems like somebody has.
Give me a call back. 870-268-8178 is our office, and my cell phone is 870.
That's Matt's message.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So thank you everybody for being here with us this afternoon. I'm very happy to be here to talk a little bit about ARP-EANS program. We're going to start with some tips for today. This webinar has been recorded and we're going to be posting this and the slide deck on our website, so you will have access to everything that you're seeing in here and even more information. We advise you to mute yourself. So if you're not speaking at the time, that will help just the process of the webinar going. And if you have any other websites open or other software, if you want to help with the internet process, just close them down. And if you have issues with the audio, you can connect through the phone as well if you need that. And at the end of the webinar, we're going to be answering questions, as many questions as we possibly can. So we would like to invite you to post your questions in the chat, because we're going to be collecting them and we're going to address as many as possible at the end. And those that we are not able to address, we're going to include them into our FAQ, Arkansas FAQ for the ARP-EANS program. That is available to everybody, so you can go and seek answers in there as well. Before we jump into the ARP-EANS business, I would like to introduce you all to Ms. April Jarvis. She is our new Equitable Services Program Advisor, and she will be your point of contact for everything related to regular title programs. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please put that on the chat and she will be happy to give you a call or send you an email to give you information about all regular title programs that we have available, and equitable services that you have access after even this year, alongside ARP-EANS, and then after ARP-EANS is gone. Those are there available for you as well. So our agenda for today is to review the general aspects of the ARP-EANS program. We are not planning to answer all your questions. You always can call us or email us, and we'll be happy to provide assistance to any question or problem you may have. So we're going to do just a big overview of the ARP-EANS program, and then we have Class Wallet with us today. Matt is going to then walk us through how to use a platform for the ARP-EANS program, and he's actually going to talk a little bit about how to handle both wallets for those of you who has both wallets available for SRSA-ARPS and ARP-EANS. So let's jump into business now. Let's see, my computer. It's not. Okay. So reviewing the timeline for ARP-EANS award, the most important date that we have here is September 30th of 2024. This is the day when the ARP-EANS program is going to be, finished or must be finalized, which means that any service or assistance that you require using these funds needs to be approved in Class Wallet, fully approved by that date. So you need to have that in your mind. September 30th of 2024 is our last day to process anything that you might need with this money. And around that same time, September of 2024, it's our plan to start consultation with non-public schools regarding EANS inventory for ARP-EANS, because for CSRSA-EANS is going to be in September of 2023. So this is for ARP-EANS. We're going to do this in September of 2024. So how to use the ARP-EANS money? Remember that this is federal money. So it's important for you to take into consideration that everything that you are going to request, any service or assistance that you're going to request with this money must be necessary, reasonable, and allowable. So those three concepts are very, very important. Necessary and reasonable go along with any federal money that you use. And the allowable is very specific for the ARP-EANS money based on the U.S. Department of Ed FAQ that we have available, the most recent guidance that we have available. And so the ARP-EANS money, we can only provide direct services or assistance, which means that you're going to be sending a request to us for a service or assistance that you might need. And then through a third party or a provider or service provider. And we're going to review your request, and your request, when it's approved, that service will be paid directly to the vendor. So this means that the money is not going to your non-public schools, it's that the money is going directly through to the vendor using Class Wallet. So you have very specific categories with the ARP-EANS money that you can request services for. Those of you that are already familiar with the EANS program knows which ones are those categories. Those of you that are new to ARP-EANS, you have here a list of services or assistance that you can request with this money. And you have more in here. And basically what you can do with this money is restricted to this list. Within this framework, you have some room and documentation. It's key for us to help you get through what you need using this money, while at the same time, we are in compliance with the federal regulation that we have for this, this program. Here you can see a step-by-step process of the steps that you need to follow to request services with ARP-EANS money. As I said before, we have only direct payments available for ARP-EANS. And you can, with the first step for you will be to locate a vendor or a provider that can give you the service that you need based on the list that we saw before. Then with step 2, you have 2 options in there. If you are 100% sure that what you are requesting is allowable under the EANS program, you can upload all the documents that you need with that request into your Class Wallet account, and that's going to come to us. We will review it, we will approve it, and all of that. But if you're not sure that the services that you're requesting are allowable under EANS before you get into a commitment with a vendor, you can submit a pre-approval email to us. And when I say us, I said it means Lindsay or I, and our information is going to be at the end for you to have access to. And with that, within that email, you submit all the documentation that you need for that, which is basically a quote and a justification document. and we will review that and we will advise you on how to proceed with that request that you have, if it's allowable, if it's not, or if it's allowable, but you need to be more thorough with documentations, we will help you with that process. And then after everything is all the documents are good to go, you can create a request in Class Wallet and pick one category only. This is a very important thing. And upload your final invoice, your justification document, an inventory spreadsheet when it's needed, if you are requesting technology or other equipments that you might need, and the confirmation of services. And this is very important because with the ARP-EANS program, we cannot pay anything that hasn't been rendered to you by the provider. So it's very, very important for you to take that into consideration. And we have a very thorough guidance on this step-by-step process. And Lindsay is gonna add that link into the chat for you to have it. And it's in our website as well. So you can go back and check that, or you can call us if you have any questions about it. So these are the links that I was mentioning before. The link to the U.S. Department of Ed guidance for the ARP-EANS program. Every decision that we made regarding allowability and the use of these funds are based on this guidance. And then we have our request process guide that's going to help you step by step with sample of documentations and how those documents need to look like in order for you to request services under the ARP-EANS program. Here, I would like to stop for a minute and show you this timeline of approval, because it is important for you to be mindful of that when you're talking to service provider about money and how and when they're going to get paid. So they're going to get paid through Class Wallet, which mean that if they are not already registered in Class Wallet, which a lot of them already are, they need to do a pre-registration process with us, and they can always call us and we will be happy to give them the instructions or the step process to do that. It's a very easy process, and it actually won't take a long time for them to become a vendor if they are not already in there. But once you have that process and the services, that the service you're requesting is allowable under ARP-EANS, so it's going to be approved, and you submit a request in Class Wallet with all the documentations that are needed in there, that will be considered day one. And then that request is going to be in our hands here in our office, and we will review that and we will approve it. So the approval is always subject to having all the documentation, all proper documentation within that request in Class Wallet, because if something is missing, we cannot approve it until we have all documents in there. And again, you can check our guidance, or you can call us and we'll be happy to guide you in that process. After we review that in our office here and we approve that, that's going to go to the approved transactions pool from our finance department. And that usually takes 15 days. And then finance will approve the final payment and give the money to Class Wallet, and then Class Wallet will process that payment to your vendor. So usually we're looking at around a month to have that process and that money out to the vendor once everything or all the documentation is properly into the request that you submit in Class Wallet. I know that this is for those of you that are new to ARP-EANS. You will be like, whoa, this is too much information. We are aware of that, and we're not expecting for you to understand it all right now. So we can set up a Zoom meeting or a call, and Lindsay or I will be happy to give you more details on this step-by-step process. With that being said, I'm going to give the floor to Matt from Class Wallet, and he will be sharing with us more specific information about how to use the platform for the ARP-EANS program.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and good afternoon to all the Arkansas schools. My name is Matt Marsiglia, and I am the EANS program manager for Class Wallet. And we manage currently 11 states out of the 50 to process payments, and we're excited to launch with Arkansas ARP-EANS 2 today. Here's the agenda. We're going to just show you how to access your Class Wallet account. I know a lot of folks on the call already have EANS 1, and there's really no further action for you. Only for the new schools, we'll have to create a new account. So we'll briefly go over how to create a new account for any new schools, or if you have a new principal or a new director or somebody that's going to change fiscal agents, that person would have to create a new account as well. So we'll talk about that. We'll go over how to use the funds. I think Elizabeth already briefly mentioned that, so we may be able to skip over some of this as we've already talked about the approval timeline as well. And then most importantly, we'll go over how to create a transaction for using two purses. So you have an EANS 1 purse and an ARP-EANS 2 purse. Just really one small minor change. Everything else is going to be the same as what you're used to. And then, of course, we can answer any questions that you have about the program, and then we'll guide you on user support, how to contact our customer service team. So the first step in accessing your account, you should have received a welcome email. I sent this to only the schools that are new to the program. So the ones that are already in the program today, if you log into your account, you should already see two balances, EANS 1 and ARP-EANS 2. So no further action is needed for you. However, if you're a new school, please note you received an email today. So to set up your account, you'll need to go in and click the login button. So if you go next slide, please, Elizabeth. Yep, one more. You'll see here the first time login button in the bottom right of the email. If you click that, you'll be then set up with a prompt to enter your email address. Please type your email address in that's associated with your account, the same email we sent it to. Click I'm not a robot to verify that you are human, and then hit verify email address, and then we're going to send you a second email to verify. If you can go to the next slide, please. This next email is going to be coming from info@classwallet.com. Here, once you receive that, please click to log in, and be sure to whitelist or save info@classwallet.com as a safe sender to make sure that our messages are not going to your spam folder. But once you click the login, you'll then be forwarded to the next page, which you're going to create your password. So please create your password, re-enter your password, and then you want to create a security question as well with an answer. So in case you forget your password, you'll be able to reset that. And then for any future subsequent logins, we recommend that you save app.classwallet.com in your browser, whether it's Chrome or Safari, whatever browser you used. If you save that website, you'll be able to access your account for future logins there with your login and password that you just created. And this is what your homepage looks like. Your balance is going to be in the top left. Any system notifications will be in the top right. For EANS 2 customers, only the pay vendor tile will be listed. However, if you have EANS 1 and ARP-EANS 2, you'll still have reimbursement tile and the pay vendor tile. You'll also have access to reporting, support for training videos, and you can change your account settings as well. And then if you have any desire for anybody at your school to access these reports, you can email us, EANS@classwallet.com. We'll go over that later in the presentation. But we're happy to set up a view-only account for anybody at your school who wants to have access to reporting. However, please note only one person can be the fiscal agent who makes purchases on your account and can view your account balance. All schools will have to do this. So please note you will not be able to see your ARP-EANS 2 funding until you accept the affidavit. So upon logging in, a lot of you may have already logged in and accepted the affidavit. If you have not, please do so as soon as possible. Log into your account, you'll see a pop-up box that says, please read through the affidavit. And this just confirms that you are going to be using the funds that are reasonable, necessary, and allowable as outlined by Elizabeth earlier. and you won't be using the funds in any other way than what was articulated with the grant. And then once you accept it, if you go to the next slide, please, there will be only 3 options for you. You can accept the affidavit, you can skip the affidavit, you can reject the affidavit. If you skip or reject the affidavit, you will not be allowed to use any of your funds. You will not even be able to see your account balance. The only way to see your balance is if you accept the affidavit. If you reject the affidavit accidentally, you'll have to reach back out to us so we can reset the selection for you. Ways to use your funds. As Elizabeth mentioned, I'm not sure how much detail we need to go behind this. I think you did a great job, Elizabeth, talking about the pay vendor option. There's only one way to spend your funds, and that's through the pay vendor option. And all the EANS 1 vendors are already on board for EANS 2 as well that are approved. If you have a specific vendor you want to add, we're going to show you how to do that in a future slide, which is right here. So if you do have, with the EANS guidance, schools do have the autonomy to choose their vendors based on approval by Arkansas DOE. So if you do want to have a vendor apply to become an approved EANS vendor, please fill out this form. Do not fill out the form on behalf of the vendor. Please send the link to the vendor, and then they will fill out the form, which will then be routed to Elizabeth, who will then take a look at the form and make sure that they would be a good eligible vendor. And if they're approved, they will be sent an email to register for their class wallet account, and then we'll be adding them to the program at that point. It does take up to 4 business days to get approved on the platform. So please note, sorry, my dogs are barking, UPS. Please note that if this timeline starts the second that it's approved by Arkansas DOE, so please, allow the administrator a few days to get through the request for approval. But as soon as they are approved, there is a few steps they have to do to get started. Number 1, they have to come and create a class wallet account. Number 2, the vendor must also upload their W-9, which they fill out within our platform. They also need to link their bank account and verify their bank account. Bank verification can take up to 48 hours because Class Wallet sends them 2 micro deposits to make sure that the account they linked is the correct one. We pay all the vendors via ACH wire transfers, so the bank accounting is necessary before they are approved. And then the last step is once they are verified, we will manually add them to the program to make sure everything is aligned, and we do that on Tuesdays and Fridays every week. So just please be patient. Once they're approved, it could take up to 4 business days for them to show up on your platform. And then here is where they issue a payment. I know about 95% of you guys on the call have already issued lots of payments. So if you want to show a 2-minute video, you're welcome to, Elizabeth. There's a 2-minute video we can watch for the new school to show how to do it. There's also a help link in here that you can direct as well to read. Up to you guys. Do you want to watch the video? We can, or you can watch it at your convenience. But this is how you pay a vendor, is at this slide.
Yeah, we can add that to our website so they will have access in there, and we can share that with everybody.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. It's very intuitive. 99% of our users don't even need training once they get on the platform and start uploading documents, but there is a help video there to help explain the details. So thanks, Elizabeth. Please note that all payments will be reviewed and pre-approved by the designated program administrators. Class Wallet does not handle any approvals or rejections. That is all done by the Arkansas DOE. You may see a 2.5% fee on the provider's invoice as it relates to Class Wallet processing fee. We are an accounts payable solution similar to MasterCard or Visa, and that's the fee that you would see as it relates to the transaction cost. The Arkansas Department of Education may require a work order, including file and delivery date prior to the approval of services or assistance. And the Arkansas Department of Education may require documentation that any service or assistance has been received in full prior to payment being made to vendors. Written justification may be required to ensure the expenditures align with the requirements. Other important information. This is going to show you for the schools who have EANS 1 and EANS 2. This is what your screen will look like. You can see in the left-hand corner, you're going to have a number at the top. That's going to be your combined balance. So if you take a look below it, you'll see ARP-EANS 2, EANS 1. If you add those 2 numbers up, you'll see they both equal $88,671.39. Just on your screen, you will have 2 different balances. You'll have an ARP-EANS 2 balance and an EANS 1 balance. Everything remains the same except during the checkout process and the very end, right after you select your category, it's going to ask you what purse you would like to use to cover this amount. and then you're going to make sure you choose ARP-EANS 2 or EANS 1. However, please note if you are submitting a reimbursement, ARP-EANS 2 purse will be blocked. You will not be able to choose that purse. It will be EANS 1 only. So all reimbursements, it'll default to the EANS 1 purse. However, if you're submitting a direct payment, you will be required to select which purse you want to use your funds out of. So be sure to allocate those funds correctly. And the category selection requirement. So you definitely need to select a category. There are 12 approved spending categories. As most of you are aware of, please select only one category as it most relates to your transaction. This is a required submission as part of the process, so you cannot skip this. So please make sure you do enter one category here. Transaction confirmation emails. Schools will be receiving 2 emails. The first email will be confirmation of payment for the designated administrator to review. So as soon as you submit it, it creates a class wallet order number. You'll receive an email, and the admin will also receive an email that's letting them know that they have an order to approve. The second email you receive will be the administrator's approval or rejection decision with any applicable comments. Access and viewing reports. You have access to all of your activity within your account. You can see which items are pending, which ones have been approved, and you can view your transaction history as well. If you've submitted an order and it has not been approved yet, you can go to pending approvals and click through to view those, including all the documents you uploaded. You'll be able to have access to as well. For any of the orders you've already submitted and ain't approved, if you click the orders button, it'll also show you the total there as well of all the orders that have been approved. I think we've been over the approval timeline. Elizabeth, you think you went over that earlier?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Approval and rejection notes. So please note, upon the administrator's approval of your payment to a registered service provider, the provider will receive confirmation of your payment along with the uploaded documents, and the payment should settle to their bank account within 2 to 4 weeks after the approval. However, if your administrator rejects your service provider payment, all funds will be put back into your class wallet account, and you will find any rejection notes in the confirmation email. Please note you will have to resubmit a new order if it gets rejected based on the applicable comments from the administrator. Any inquiries related to the approval or rejection, if you please send those back to the administrator. That's not going to be a class wallet question. That would be an Arkansas DOE question if you get rejected. Please note to send an email to the Arkansas DOE for any questions about the approvals or rejections. Deadline and important notes. So please check your account for any emails for class wallet for any upcoming deadlines. The official deadline of EANS 2 is September 30th, 2024. Elizabeth, not sure if you're going to require schools to submit any documents before that exact date. Some states want them to be in before that time frame to make sure there's no issues, but please note that that date will be provided, but the official deadline is September 30th, 2024. If you do submit a payment request before the deadline and it's reviewed after the deadline, it can still be approved. However, after that deadline, no resubmits will be allowed and all funds will be deposited back into the state. General questions about our security. So we highly value your security at Class Wallet. We've completed several SOC 2 audits and spent a great deal of effort to ensure our platform is secure. All data at Class Wallet is stored securely and classified according to the data classification policy. Class Wallet is SOC 2 compliant, which is the highest level of security you can receive in the industry. And we are subject to annual reviews by third-party auditors with regards to our data security and privacy policies. All data transmitted over public and wireless networks is encrypted with strong encryption techniques. And lastly, here's where you can reach out to us for user support. We have available phone team Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern on weekdays, and then Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday weekend. Please call the number and then hit extension 6, or you can email help@classwallet.com. A faster way to reach us would be to email eans@classwallet.com. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat here. eans@classwallet.com is going to be a direct line to our EANS team to help solve any issues, or if you need to change your fiscal agent or any of the following things that we can do for you, help you with your bank account, uploading documents, service provider registration status, if you want to know when a vendor is going to be added to the platform. If a vendor payment status is, if you're curious about that, you can let us know. Or any process for adding or updating school admins, including adding new administrators for view-only accounts. And that's about it for my portion. I'm happy to open it up for any questions, or Elizabeth, if you want to continue on, and we can take questions at the end.
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to affirm the fact that ClassWallet is here to help us with any technical support that you may have. So if you have an issue with the platform itself and what to do, how to do something, or how to fix something that is a technical issue, ClassWallet is here to help you with that. But if you have a question about the program, about the EANS, how you can spend the money, what documents do you need, is this allowable or not allowable, Lindsay and I are here to help you exactly with that. So Lindsay, I'm going to ask you if we have some questions on the chat that we can start answering. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat so we can answer those questions right now. This is going to be the time to do that. Lindsay, what do we have there?
We currently don't have any questions. I do see that Miss Greer has raised her hand, so I'm not sure if she wants to unmute or if she would like to ask her question in the chat.
Okay, let's wait and see then. This is your time to ask questions, and anything we can do to help you go through this process. That's why we are here today, to help you with that. I know there's a lot of information here, even more for those who are new to the EANS program, but we're happy to answer any questions. So I remember a question from before about the providers, and if the providers from EANS 1 were going to roll into EANS 2, and the answer to that is yes. They don't have to re-register with ClassWallet, if you will. If they're there, and can be used with any of the programs that we have available, the SERSA EANS or the ARP-EANS.
Denise Troutman has asked in the chat, other than reimbursements, are there a lot of differences in what will be allowable and what will not?
No, the guidance that we have from the U.S. Department of Ed is exactly the same for both of the programs. The categories, the allowable categories are the same. And the guidelines that we have are exactly the same. The only main difference between the two regarding the use of funds is that we cannot reimburse any schools with ARP-EANS, but the rest of them are available to you. And if I may go even further, we have some schools that are already talking about leaving the SERSA EANS for reimbursement only, and then using ARP-EANS for direct payment only. That's an option that you have if you currently have a direct payment contract with a company and you want to transfer that and start using ARP-EANS. That's something we can do, because we cannot do reimbursements with ARP-EANS. So that's something that you have available right there. Christine, anything else that you know from your people, questions they've been throwing at you about this that we might be able to help answer it right now?
The only thing I thought of, Elizabeth, if you could really make it clear, and I think you did, but just maybe say this once again. So those deadlines of September 30th with EANS 1 was 2023, ARP-EANS 2024. That's obligating the funds and having them approved, but it can still take time to make the payment. So as long as that's all turned in, it's obligated and approved by those deadlines, then they're okay, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
we need to be sure that we are creating a bridge here, because what we call on a regular federal program an obligation of funds, for the EANS program is what we get a request approved in ClassWallet. So if we have a request in Class Wallet that is pending or incomplete, it's not approved. So the money is not obligated yet. And that's a conversation that I had with our finance department. So for the EANS program, everything that we consider obligated are things that has been approved in Class Wallet, which means that for us, we cannot approve anything after September 30th of 2023 for EANS 1 and September 30th, 2024 for EANS 2.
And I wanted you to say that again because I wanted the schools to hear that really you need to give yourself a much earlier deadline than that, so you are sure that it's approved by the deadline. So, move that back a month and tell yourselves, we need to get this, all in and looked at, a month prior. So
Yeah.
that was my real reason to ask you to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And if I may, with that, in that same line, if you have a request in Class Wallet, but it is incomplete because the documentation is not there, that will stay there and won't be approved. So you're going to be basically losing that money because you don't have all the documentations that we need to approve that request by the deadline. Do we have any other question or anybody would like to ask something?
I don't have any in the chat unless somebody would like to unmute and ask.
Okay, Lindsay, if you don't mind, please post in the chat our names, email addresses, and phone numbers. We're gonna leave that there in case after, this webinar, you think of something, please call us, email us, and we will be very happy to help you go through any question that you might have. We're here every day, and we're here and we're happy to help you to get this money out to help kids catch up with learning after all we've been through with the pandemic. Ms. Kaufman, do you have any final thought that you would like to share with us before we close out our webinar for today? Let's see. Okay, seems like she might be busy with a phone call. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here today. Thank you, Matt, for guiding us through the Class Wallet process. I appreciate that. Thank you, Christine, for being here with us. You can call us anytime. We are always happy to help. Again, if you have any questions about equitable services, Ms. April Jarvis is here to help you. And with the EANS program, Lindsay and I am here for you. Thank you, everybody, and have a good afternoon.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.